Friends, welcome back to my kitchen. So glad you could join me here today. It's fall, we have apples. We're here doing another meal prep. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and scooch on over and hit that bell icon so you're notified every time one of my videos goes up, because you're going to love my recipes. They're super simple, super easy, plant-based, vegan, and if you haven't watched any of my videos, well, welcome. And just wanted to let you know that I'm following a plant-based diet, following the starch solution. So I cook with no oil, and I'm on a journey to lose weight, get healthy, and lower my cholesterol, and move every day. So let's get into today's meal prep. Last week we did pumpkin spice baked oatmeal, and I thought, hey, apples are in season now. I love apples, so let's switch that recipe up and make it an apple one. So that's the first thing we're going to do. And the baked oatmeal is super simple. You're going to want to preheat your oven to 350, and we're going to get our bowl. Super simple. It's just basically going to be like the pumpkin recipe, but we're going to sub in some applesauce and our chopped apple, and with cinnamon instead of pumpkin spice. Again, find a basic recipe and then just switch it up with whatever flavors you want for that week. And this is what I was in the mood for. And it'll be great with a little bit of maple syrup. All right, so let's start with our dry ingredient. Super simple, rolled oats. And I would use old-fashioned rolled oats because they're just a little bit better. You can mix half and half if you prefer. Totally up to you. And again, recipes are to play with. They're not written in stone. So we're just using 2 cups of oats. And don't forget, the recipe will be down below or on my website. We're going to add in some chia. And that's going to be like our egg replacer. Keep everything together. Okay. Some cinnamon, because apples and cinnamon go. I like cinnamon. I'm going to probably put a lot in. You do you. I would say between 1 and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, depending on how much you like your cinnamon. We're going to add in a teaspoon of baking soda. That'll just help it puff up a little bit. Now we're going to add in our wet ingredients. So plant-based milk. I'm using almond because I like to get it in the Tetra boxes a lot of the times if I'm not making my own. So in goes the almond milk. I'm going to add a little bit of maple syrup, but I'm only going to add probably a couple of tablespoons. So normally it would be like 1/4 cup, but because I'm adding applesauce, I don't think it's going to need to be that sweet. And I'm not really big on a lot of sweetness. We're going to do about 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup of applesauce. Again, honestly, guys, this recipe you could eyeball. Oh, and a little bit of vanilla. I'm not adding salt, but you can always add a little splash of salt if you'd like. And again, you cook for your needs. Oh, it smells good already. Oh, I love baked oatmeal. It's so simple. It's great for meal prep. You could actually do these in like silicone cups for like muffin tins and do individual ones. That way you could just pull out a couple each day. That's a super easy thing. And now I'm just going to cut up and dice my apple. And I am going to keep them smaller just so that they have more time to cook in the oven. This is going to cook in the 350-degree oven about 30 minutes. So our apple's ready. We're going to throw it in with our batter, such as it is. Give that a good stir. Incorporate those. Now you're going to want to have I'm using kind of like a 9x13. 9x13 baking pan would be great. I'm using a casserole dish. I love this because I don't have to oil it or anything, and these come right out very nicely. We're going to pour that in. Spread it out. Just kind of make sure your apples are evenly distributed. And that is it. Our baked apple oatmeal is done. I'm going to dust it with a little bit of cinnamon on top. Again, I'm a cinnamon fiend, so I love cinnamon. Okay, in the oven that's going to go for 30 minutes. Next on our meal prep today, we are making a soup. Super simple, super easy. So next in our meal prep, we're going to do just a simple vegetable soup. But if you're following the starch solution and Dr. McDougall, there's something that's kind of been hidden, just not very advertised very well, and it's all about preloading. So preloading is when you start your meal with a low-calorie, dense food, which normally would be soup or salad or fruit. And that's kind of going to fill you up so that when you get to more caloric dense, if you're eating more beans, rice, things like that, you're already going to be full or somewhat full so that you're eating less of the high-calorie dense food. So I'll leave the link below for the McDougall website where it talks about this. And they, salads can be expensive depending on where you live and what time of the year it is. And everything is more expensive. But soups are super cheap. In fact, we're making our soup today with my homemade stock, vegetable stock, from using scraps. That's right, I save all my scraps. You'll see today my onions, carrots, celery. I save all my scraps and then I put them in a bag in my freezer. When my bag gets full, I throw everything into my Instant Pot or slow cooker or a pot on the stove. Doesn't matter what you have. And you add water, some peppercorns if you like, and some bay leaves, and you just let that simmer. And then you have your own free veggie broth, because we're eating veggies anyway. So let's just make a simple vegetable soup. I'm not going to put anything high caloric dense in it. Like normally on my website you'll see I have, barley soups and different other grains we might put in them. I'm keeping this just as a very low calorie soup, but it's going to be tasty. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel my carrots. And you're going to put in whatever you have in your fridge, kitchen, pantry, wherever all your stuff is. And this is what I do every week is I look around what I already have before I go out shopping and go, oh, I can make this, I can make that, I'm going to do this, and use up what I have or use what's in my freezer, etc. So again, keep your scraps. I'm going to put them in a separate bowl. And we're just going to cut these bite-sized pieces. So I always have stuff for soup. I don't know about you, but my pantry is always full. In fact, I'm going to make this like a tomato base, so I have some nice fire roasted tomatoes, canned tomatoes. And you could do this in your Instant Pot. Love carrots. Going to do an onion. I'm just going to do half an onion. Always leave the root on. This makes dicing it so much easier. And it's simple. We're just going to simply go down. And the fact that you have the stem still on, it's something to hold. And then we're just going to go across. And that's it. You could also add in some frozen veggies, which I think I'm going to do. There we go. And I have some celery, which I'm going to add. So we kind of have our mirepoix done. And we just want to fill the soup with lots of low-calorie, dense veggies. There we go. I also have some kale. I'm going to put in some cabbage. And then I have my fire roasted tomatoes. I'm just adding some water because I don't cook with oil. And I'm just going to saute with a water instead. We're going to add in our carrots and onions and celery. And then we're going to saute this and let them cook down until they soften. While our Onions and carrots and celery are cooking. I'm going to chop up a couple of potatoes. And I'm going to leave the skin on for extra fiber. I also took some frozen vegetables out. And this has carrots, green beans, peas, and corn. So the corn and the carrots are kind of starchy. But really, when you're looking at the amount that I'm putting into a big pot of soup, it's really minuscules. But that's up to you. I also have some cauliflower, some frozen cauliflower. I think I'm going to put a couple of florets of that in just to bulk the soup up. And I have some great kale that's left over that I'm going to chop up and also put in. So I think with the kale, I'm not going to do the cabbage too. That's enough coniferous vegetables for us. And the kale, I always wait till the very end because it doesn't take very long to cook. I love putting kale into soups because it's hearty. It does wilt down, but it still keeps its shape and very high in nutrition. Now we're going to add in our red peppers and our mushrooms. And we're going to let those brown for about 3 minutes. So our soup has been simmering. Everything is tender. Got a nice stir. Now I'm going to add in the kale, and we're just going to let that all wilt down. And we're going to let this wilt down, and then our soup is ready. So now we're going to work with our eggplant, and I was just, again, looking around what I had, and I need to use my eggplant up, and I was thinking like an eggplant parmesan. Super simple, super easy. We're going to slice this into discs. We're not actually going to salt it. Sometimes you salt it to draw out the bitterness, but we are going to cook this long enough so we don't really need to do that. And then I'm going to show you the dredging station. So you want to be preheating your oven to 375. You can do 400 too. I'm just going to slice this into discs. And I'm just going to do, I don't know if that's 1/2 inch or not. So we're going to move this just to the side, and we're going to do our dredging. We're going to have 3 steps. Also, I have a baking dish with a silicone pad. I'm going to put that in. You can do it this way. You're going to need 3 bowls. We're going to do a flour bowl, and I'm doing mine gluten-free, so I'm using a gluten-free flour with a little bit of chickpea flour in it. So in our first bowl, we're just going to do a little bit of chickpea flour, and then I just happen to have this blend. So about 1/4 cup of the chickpea flour and about 1/2 cup of the flour. Give that a little toss. Now I like to salt and pepper this and put some seasoning into this flour. So we'll start with some garlic. I'm super generous. Onion powder. I'm actually going to do a little bit of salt. And a little bit of smoked paprika. Everything is totally optional. You can do it any way you want. If you want to add different seasonings, of course, you could add Italian seasoning here. I'm going to add the Italian seasoning to the breadcrumb mixture. And then in our milk, I'm just using almond milk. I'm going to add a little bit of cornstarch, just to kind of thicken it up a little bit. And then I'm going to do our breadcrumbs. And I actually got these gluten-free breadcrumbs, so I'm going to give them a try. Again, trying to stay gluten-free. Now to those, I am going to add a little bit of garlic. Again, we're layering our seasoning and a generous of Italian seasoning. So now we're going to flour our discs. We're going to dip them in the milk and then into the breadcrumbs. So when you're flouring, keep one hand wet, one hand dry, and everything should go well. And then just on our pan, and you're just going to continue and repeat this. So now we're going to put this in our 375-degree oven. We're going to flip it probably after about 15 minutes, and we're going to cook them till they're golden brown. So this is after about 20 minutes. I'm just going to flip them over, put them back in the oven for another 20 minutes. So I've cooked them now for another 20 minutes on this side, and now I'm just going to put on some simple marinara sauce. And I'm going to bake them just for another 5 or 10 minutes. And then I'm going to top that with some nutritional yeast when we're done. So our eggplant is all set. I'm going to have it with some non-starchy vegetables that I've microwaved very quickly, very easily. And these look delicious. Can't wait. So we have our delicious baked apple oatmeal. Smells so good. I wish you guys could smell it. And then our delicious preloading soup for our meals this week. And I'll leave the link below for the McDougall website. Thank you so much for watching again, guys. Don't forget, I have a free ebook. Go there and pick that up for free on how to meal prep. Super easy. Shows you how to shop, how to prepare, and how to budget for that. And don't forget, we also have a Facebook group. Join in and head over to my website to get that free ebook. So until next time, we'll see you soon.